Hey guys, it's Average, welcome back to the channel, and today we're taking a look at Cowansim's latest helicopter, the Bell 222 Bravo. Now this aircraft was developed, it's kind of worked on and started in the 1960s for a new twin-turbine engine light helicopter, and a mock-up was created at 1974 at the helicopter convention, or a helicopter convention I should say. Now following interest, they developed their 222, which was their first light commercial twin-turbine in the US. Now, it included a number of advanced features when I'm not having a stroke, including dual hydraulic and electrical systems, sponsons housing retractable landing gear. There is a utility version that has skids as well, and the Nolamatic vibration reduction system, which was developed for the Bell 214ST. Now, this is the Bravo, which is more powerful. It features a bigger main rotor and two Honeywell LTS 101 750C engines, producing 680 horsepower each. It first flew in 1976, and the Bravo was produced from 1980 to 1991. Now, it has a maximum speed of 135 knots, a service ceiling of 15,800 feet, and a hover ceiling of 10,300 feet, with a range of 372 nautical miles. Now, this, features-wise, has a number of paint liveries for it. 45 to be exact. Dear God, they love making liveries, which is great. Now, it does have some issues with hardware bindings, so they will maybe not function. You'll have to use the NSIM buttons. It comes with a paint kit, pilot and passenger models, blade slap and vibrations. We have dynamic weight options. We have a medical version, a luxury version, full Wibby-wise sound, VR ready, and 4K textures. The price is about €33, at least on the sim market. It's £30 at, for example, flightsim.com, flightsim.to even. So there is some variance there. Now, from what I've noticed so far, textures are not amazing, but they're more than fine. And there's some little areas of slightly lower polyness, but we'll get into that. So let's take a look in the sim itself. And my head's still turned on, so I'll turn this off. And we'll go for a quick scoot around the boot. So textures are not going to win any grand prizes, but they're also not terrible. Okay, they're not amazing, but they're not awful. This is the Mercier medical version, so inside you'll see a rather terrifying looking paramedic. Those eyes have seen some things. And we have a patient who's either got gas or is dead. Not sure which. And we have your custom flight sim pilots. Overall, modeling's decent. There's some areas where I think it could be more detailed. And there's some areas where they skipped out some stuff. Okay, the texturing is not wonderful at the front. It's definitely not the same as their previous models. I'm not sure what's changed, but it is not the same as the Squirrel or the 500. Those look significantly better, I would say. But we'll see. For the price mark, I'd have liked better quality textures. That is definitely something I would say. Okay, that's not particularly high detail at all. Let's take a look inside. Now, inside the cockpit, things are a lot nicer, actually. I do quite like the cockpit. Texture is slightly on the flat side-ish, maybe, possibly. Doors definitely kind of a little bit low poly here. The sim can support higher, so I'm kind of surprised there's not more. It could be base model related or whatever they've used to do this. But I feel it could be a little bit nicer. Instrumentation-wise, we've got a lot of steam gauges in here. We have our 530, 430 stack here. We're going to go about starting up this aircraft. So, it requires the battery to be on. Fuel valve and fuel primes for engine 1 and 2. Make sure the inverters are, in fact, off. Generators are off. Okay, they're not reset. Wonderful. We need to make sure our rotor brake is off. That is, as you'll see, just down there. That's on. That is off. Doors and things can be opened and closed. As usual, this works to the interior and exterior doors. And this is our parking brake here. You'll need that because it has wheels. You can taxi. So, everything's on there. I think we're looking good here. Everything appears to be in the correct position. So, instrumentation is good and alive. let's make sure we get our engine start going, which is up here. We'll start them both at the same time because I'm feeling lazy. Throttles are closed. We had to have the idle stop on first. Didn't do that, so we'll start. No, go away. Aborting the start there. We'll do the idle stop first. I forgot to do that in the startup sequence based on their checklists. There's no manual included with this aircraft, so features you're going to have to guess on mostly because it's not entirely clear. But it does come with a checklist setting, so you've got the checklist to work with at least. In terms of further than that, I'm not sure. So that's going to be one of those things you do need to make sure you do yourself. So it's our nav source to GPS there. We're taking off out of Santa Monica Airport, by the way, in Los Angeles. I've been flying around here quite a bit in the Squirrel recently, quite enjoying it. Okay. So some of these textures not wonderful. The floor texture is a bit low, the box there's a little bit low. Again, I expected a bit more given the previous helicopters, so it's a little bit different in that regard. Not sure why. Maybe a different artist have had work on this one, I don't know. It's okay, and we've not had a decent 222 since the Cowansim, so yeah, it's gonna be one of those things. We'll wait for our engine performance to come up here. Oh no, need to actually give it. There we go. Throttles need to actually come up for the engines to properly light, which I've not been doing. Which they are now coming up. So I'm an idiot. I was sitting there talking to you guys and not actually doing that, so that's gonna be a thing. Engines are coming up and good. Increase throttles. Rotor RPM's coming up. Brakes are off. Okay. So, taxiing, this should be relatively easy. It's a matter of cracking the throttle and just nudging your steering. Should be just a nudge here. I've been having some issues. There we go. I've been having some issues myself in terms of it. This is weird, my head position's off like that. I've been having some minor issues myself in terms of it not wanting to keep power on the RPM at times, which it seems to be doing fine now, so we'll go with that. Let's just brake here. Ground handling is very good. I quite like it. The ground handling is very stable and practical. Everything works as intended, and I'm not actually applying any power to the cyclic right now, or any movement, so I've just got the momentum it's imparted for me, and taxi is pretty easy. Okay, we'll just stop here, and you're at a stop. So to go again, all I need to do is just give it a little bit of a nudge and a little bit of power, and off she goes. We'll line up on the runway here and we'll depart from the runway, and we'll fly into the city itself proper. We'll pretend we're doing a med flight job, so we'll probably fly to all the hospitals. Okay, so I'm going to do a rolling takeoff here. Okay, I'm starting to tilt. That's not a good idea, so we'll just lift off under power. I'm not the world's best helicopter pilot, but I do try. A little bit of right turning tendency, which is very common to MSFS helicopters. Gear will pull up in the exterior, so you can see that. There they go. And we are retracted. Now, it's a much more stable helicopter to fly. That's landing gear, it's telling me. Yep, landing gear is in fact up, I'm aware. Shut up. Okay. The seating position was fine before. I'm not sure why it's off now, but it was fine. So let's apply some more power here and pick some speed up, get our full speed out of the aircraft. So we're flying over LA. We just departed there from Santa Monica. So we're heading north through the city. Now, if my memory serves correctly, to our 1 o'clock there is Century City. And the Fox Studios will fly that way. And then we'll cross over towards Fairfax and the north of the city. Sunset Strip's off to our about 12 o'clock now, just behind it. I've been enjoying flying their Squirrel a lot in downtown LA. I do find this a bit more visually restrictive than the Squirrel. Obviously, it's a different type of helicopter. These are used obviously more for med flight and for luxury flights, so they're very much a fly-to-a-place helicopter. They're not exactly one that's going to be flying around, hovering, landing, doing lots of rescue work or other, manual stuff like that. So your ability to get great downward visibility is not as necessary in this aircraft. There's the Fox Studios down there, by the way. We'll go exterior so you can get a better look here. And if you recognise that tower, that's because it's the Fox building and it's the set for the movie Die Hard. Yes. Oh god, this is why I don't like to go third person in a helicopter. They don't like it. The sounds are great though. I will give them credit there. The sounds are fantastic. So I'm looking for the Beverly Center, which should be off our nose. Because there's the Arts Center, just next to the windscreen wiper. Beverly Center's pretty hard to miss. It should be around here somewhere. I think that's it below me. It is. It's directly in front of me here. I think that's it. And that would be television over there. TV Studios. There's the Beverly Center down below. Okay, we're getting some great speed of it. A bit too much speed, in fact, so we'll pull the power back. Now, off our nose here is Fairfax High School. The landmark I know in the city because it's the setting of my second book. Or one of the main settings of my second book. That's a long story. Home of the Fairfax Lions. And there's downtown LA itself. So we'll go land on the tower, the big tower in LA. Because I will say pad landings are my biggest weakness in this sim so far. The precision to hover and land, especially when you're on a tower and you've got very few spatial references, are quite hard. But I find it fun. And I'm really enjoying flying in LA for some reason. It's just this massive place I can explore and enjoy. And it's far safer to go to the real LA, where I'd probably get shot. So we don't want that. I think the park's around here somewhere. That's a golf course below us. A lot of the financial district up ahead here. The aircraft is very stable, very easy to fly, very easy to handle. No real major problems in that regard. In terms of what I think of the aircraft, I mentioned it's a little bit rigid. The textures could be better. I'm not really a big fan of them. The manual's a bit of an unfortunate part there. Now, you need to be very gentle touch to just taxi. Otherwise you start to pick up the rear gear, and that becomes a problem. Great sounds and ambience, definitely, for sure. Tons of paint jobs. And it's being actively developed and worked on, so there is that. But, yeah, the textures are not at the current standard, I would unfortunately say. They definitely could be better. I would have expected this in FSX, not in MSFS at this price point. It's not going to kill it for me, but I'm not entirely happy, if that's the best description I can offer. Okay, there's the bank building. We're all on course here. Great visibility. We'll go for a bit of a bomb through the buildings to start with. I really want to test its maneuverability, so as I've gotten better with flying helicopters, I've decided to start doing incredibly reckless and dangerous things because it's a lot of fun. So we're at max speed. Let's Airwolf this thing. Because we're all thinking it, aren't we? We're all thinking the Airwolf. Okay, we're good. I'm not got enough experience in this helicopter yet to do this kind of thing. I do not have the experience yet to be flying like this in an unfamiliar, heavier, more ungainly helicopter. The 120, the Squirrel, that thing I can thread needles with that. There's the LAPD building. Yeah! There is something about flying through a city in a helicopter that is delightfully fun. And cities in MSFS are fantastic. I should go do it through the Cityscapes Chicago. Oh, this is definitely pod racing. This is pod racing. Danger, 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 danger. Let's stop this, shall we? We'll go bring her in for an approach. There she is. Okay, speed's low enough. Let's pop our gear down. I'm not worrying about that on the approach. The US Bank building is our landing zone. There's the LA River over there. The downside is you lose a lot of visibility on approach. Can I see the top of the building? I can. Speed's down to 0. Wonderful. I can visually reference it now. Yeah, this is a hard helicopter to land on something you have to look down for. And I have this problem of constantly turning. Arrest sideways movement. This is about as good as you're going to get from me, unfortunately. Ugh, brakes! I forgot. Most helicopters with skids, you stop. This, you have to put the brakes on when you're stopping if you come in with speed. Otherwise it protests violently and keeps going. Which here would be a bad thing. Gear up. Whee! Over we go. The blade slap sound is wonderful. I do love it. I'm not sure where Cedar Sinai is, or I'd land there. It's off to that way somewhere, but I don't specifically know where it is. So we'll pretend and just go somewhere else to land. Yeah, visibility for this kind of stupid is not really that good. If you're making precision landings, it can definitely be trickier. But as a med-flight type helicopter, life flight, it is very capable and more than suitable for the job. So many buildings in LA have pads on the roofs, mostly for emergency landings. They're everywhere because, you know, landing on the streets would be a bad thing. One of the temples down below. Shoot along here. Not sure which road this is. It's one of the major routes through the city. We're over speeding slightly, so let's pull our pitch back a little bit. Reduce our speed. We're airwolfing a bit too hard. There we go. We'll go land on the Nakatomi building to end this, I think. That's a good call. It's enjoyable. I've grown to really like helicopters a lot more, and I find this pleasurable to fly. I'm not having to use as much force as I did with the 500. That one's quite flighty and needs rotor trim. This is a lot lighter on the controls and more ready to handle. It is heavier and better balanced, I think, than the Squirrel or the 500, but it's a bigger aircraft. Now bear in mind, it's still a relatively old design, and the two blades means you don't get a ton of power and lift, but for what it does, it's not bad. I think LA needs an update actually in this sim. It's not bad, but it could be better, I think. Alright, there's the Nakatomi building ahead of us. We'll direct there. I gotta say, seeing all these buildings in LA that I've seen in movies or on TV shows and in video games because I play a lot of GTA 5, so I'm very familiar with this version of this city. I've played GTA 5 for years, including in roleplay stuff, which some of you know, and I've spent a long time driving very familiar streets, so it is kind of cool to be around here. Okay, we're coming up on Century City. There's the building ahead of us. So we'll do John McClane a favour and we'll land a helicopter. There won't be a gunship on the roof. But we will do what the FBI did and we'll go napper the earth through the streets of Century City. Because you kind of got to. Just like Saigon! What was that what douchebag one said? Oh, there's Macy's. Let's not hit Macy's. Gear down. Okay, maneuvering for approach. Let's pick our nose up here and burn some of this speed off. There we go. Drop our speed. Arrest sideways movement a little bit. That's one thing I'm learning is my 3D spatial awareness is becoming more spacecrafty than it is. No. As I tell you this, I start to make a huge freaking mess of this approach. But the visibility is really hard. And that's more of the actual design of the helicopter than it is anything else. But visibility is kind of tricky, meaning that brakes applied for when I touch down here. I'm going to call this good. No, it's not good. That's not good. Not good. Not good. You know what? I'm going to play it safe. Screw John McClane. He can suffer. The Fox Studios. Lots of nice detail there. Where's the big nice park we can land in? Because I'm doing that instead. Here we go. Pretty sure this is Santa Monica City Hall over here. Or part of it. Or related to it. So we'll go land here instead. Because a big grass field is far more practical than me having to land there. I'm not that good a helicopter pilot, and as I've told people before, I use a yoke. That's no good. Apparently we're going to spend a lot of time looking for somewhere to land here. Screw it, we'll go for the beach. It's a big flat open area I can't miss, can I? Actually, where's... I'll just go back to Santa Monica Airport. It's just down here. We've made it a big loop today. I've turned this review into a general flying video because it's actually been fun. In fact, there it is, 12 o'clock. I'll try and do a rolling landing, actually. That'll be interesting. So we'll join the base leg here. So my altitude is just over 1,000 feet, so we'll drop that down. We want to be at 500 feet for a helicopter circuit. Speed needs to come down. A bit low here, but I'm managing all these things at once. My helicopter flying is not fantastic, but I try. I was about to try and sidestep a helicopter. I don't think that works. See, helicopter with wheels are fun because you can do this. As I bobble around like an idiot. I'm much better at this part. There we go, see? I just applied the brakes and we're good. Because this entire thing is paved, I just taxi off the side of anywhere I want. Probably should follow a taxiway. Not going to. Is that off? Let's put my parking brake on. How do I stop the engines? That is an interesting question. I need to throttle back to idle, probably. Do I just start aboard? No, that would be stupid because... Oh, I can kill the fuel. There we go, that works. The inverters probably should have been on. Yeah. Who's counting? Be quiet. Oh, the sounds are nice. Well, the 222 Bravo is a nice helicopter. It's fun to fly. I would not pick it for doing precision operations in terms of hovering, taxiing, that sort of stuff. Well, hovering specifically. Visibility is a little hard. The textures are my biggest letdown on this. Texturing and parts of the modelling are not quite what their usual standard is. Because Cowansim make great aircraft. That's not quite the case in this one. But it's fun to fly, there's no major glitches, and it does operate pretty well. And if you like this particular aircraft, go for it. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.